So what we're going to do in this section is look at what you can do to feel more calm, more at peace, and less frazzled and stressed. Now, it's hard enough feeling stressed and overwhelmed and pressured and frazzled, but if you then beat yourself up for feeling that way, it's just going to make it feel 10 times worse. Thinking that you should be able to cope, that you shouldn't feel stressed, comparing yourself to other people, and thinking that you're failing in comparison, it all just increases the stress and the overwhelm that you're feeling. It's like having a huge heavy box to carry, and then you're going to go up a flight of stairs backwards wearing heels while carrying it. It's a lot. So the very first thing that is going to help us to feel calmer is to give ourselves a break. It's to give yourself the kindness, the care, the love, the compassion that you'd give to someone else who's feeling under pressure and stressed out and overwhelmed. So when a feeling or thought that we don't like comes up, feelings of guilt, or of failure, or overwhelm, we can want to push it away, to distract ourselves, to do anything to not feel that uncomfortable, difficult feeling. But actually, what would help you to deal with a feeling and then to move through it, which means then you can move past it, and what will enable you to feel calmer, and from there you'll be able to feel more in control, more confident you can cope, is to practice self-compassion. So first you need to be aware of what's going on with you, what difficult feelings you're experiencing, and acknowledge them rather than pushing them away. So you might recognize it instantly, or you might notice that you're just feeling rather wobbly, unsettled, uncomfortable, a little bit icky perhaps. So identify what it is that is causing that discomfort. Name what the feeling is. There's power in being able to name the feeling. So it could be that you're feeling anxious or sad or angry or guilty, frustrated, scared, lonely. Whatever the feeling is, name it. Then that little critical voice that we all have inside our heads that's making you feel bad for how you're feeling, drop that voice and instead tell yourself that, yes, this is hard. This is really bloomin' difficult. It's horrible feeling this way, and you'd rather that you didn't. But actually, this is the reality. This is how things are. This is how you're feeling. So by doing this, you're acknowledging your difficult feelings rather than pushing them away or criticizing yourself for having them. Now, look outside of yourself for a minute. Recognize that you will not be the only person who's feeling the way you feel. There are 7 billion people on this planet. We are never alone in how we feel. We are never the only ones to feel sad or lonely or frustrated or angry or worried, whatever it is that we're feeling. We are never the only ones feeling that way. And then you want to comfort yourself, just as you would if it was your best friend that you were talking to. So say something soothing and comforting. Wrap your arms around your body. Give yourself a hug. I know it might sound silly. Maybe you think you look silly. But believe me, it works. Giving yourself a hug feels really good. And you know what? If you're on your own, or if you take yourself off to somewhere where you're on your own and nobody can see you giving yourself a hug, what does it matter? If it makes you feel better, why not give it a go? So to bring this all together, what you could say to yourself when you're feeling overwhelmed and stressed, whatever it is that you're noticing, you could say to yourself something like, oh, this is horrible. I hate feeling like this. It's really hard to feel this sad, for example. I know I'm not going to be the only one who feels like this. I know that there will be other people who are feeling sad right now too. And it's okay that I have this feeling. I'm allowed to have this feeling, and I'm going to give myself a break about it. And then give yourself a hug, make yourself a cup of tea, have a cry if that's what you feel is going to be most used to you. Sometimes you just want to pour it out in a big cry. Or, maybe it's taking a few long, slow, deep breaths in and out. Think about what in that moment is going to feel most comforting to you and do it. So to recap, because I know that this can feel very unusual to do, giving ourselves compassion can be really odd if we don't often do it. So let's recap. You're going to give yourself compassion just as you would someone else. So first of all, you're going to identify how and what you're feeling. You're going to acknowledge that it's hard to feel this way and you're going to give yourself a break. You're going to remember that there are other people who are feeling the way you do. You are not the only one who's going to be feeling the way you are. And you're going to give yourself the comfort you would give a friend who's feeling this way. You're going to talk kindly to yourself and you're going to do something lovely and caring for yourself. Wrestling with how you're feeling, having an internal battle and making yourself feel bad for what you're feeling keeps you stuck in the stress and the tension, and it stops you from feeling calm. It keeps the cortisol stress hormone coursing through your body. It keeps your muscles feeling tight and tense. It keeps your breathing shallow and it keeps your heart pounding. Being self-compassionate eases this tension. Giving yourself love and kindness calms everything down, calms you down, because you're soothing and you're caring for yourself. And this makes you feel calmer and it creates more space in your life jar that we were talking about in the last video. I know it can feel really hard to be kind to ourselves. We're not used to doing it. So if you find it hard to give yourself the compassion that actually is going to benefit you, it can help to think of it as instead treating yourself like you would treat your best friend. So imagine it's a good friend of yours who is feeling the way you are, who is dealing with what you're dealing with, who is struggling in the way that you're struggling. Now imagine, what would you say to her? How would you treat her when she's feeling that way? What would you suggest that she does to help herself feel calmer and to feel better? Now, whatever you would say to your friend, turn that around and bring it back on yourself. Take everything that you would do for your friend and apply it to yourself. I mean, it's easier often to think of it this way than to go straight into thinking about how you can give yourself the love and compassion. So imagine that it's your friend and turn it around on you. So, if you've got a friend if you imagine that your friend is feeling really overwhelmed, then, maybe you would tell them, oh, don't worry about cleaning the house this week. Maybe that was it, or if you've got a friend who's feeling overwhelmed and they, have a colleague who's trying to give them some more work, then maybe you'd say to them, what, it's all right for you to say no, you can't take on that work. Maybe that's what you would say to them. Turn it around on yourself. Or if you would say to your overwhelmed friend, it's okay for you to have a cry. If you just want to have a big bawl and cry, you can do that. Maybe you would say to your overwhelmed friend, they are allowed to feel frustrated. Yeah, you're allowed to be cross. You're allowed to feel fed up. If you say that to them, say that to yourself. We're often so much better at giving advice and helping other people than we are ourselves. So when we think about how we would help somebody in the same situation, it can come more easily. And then whatever we would suggest to them, turn it around and do it back for ourselves. All of this is going to help tell your amygdala, remember that piece of our brain, that it can calm down and it can come out of the survival mode and actually let your prefrontal cortex come back in charge and everything can calm down. Activate your parasympathetic nervous system that allows your body and your brain to go, okay, let's bring it all down. Let's calm it all down. Something else that can help to shift your thinking and you're feeling from feeling frazzled and powerless and stressed